Hi. This is Kufo Laoshibikon. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe so that you can have opportunities to watch valuable videos like this very one. Right now, I want us to look at risk management in the cleaning industry in the context of color coding. At the end of this video, we should be able to understand exactly what color coding is all about in the cleaning and hygiene industry, and we should be able to identify the hazardous areas while working, what hazardous areas are all about and how to identify them and why we must identify them. Okay? We should also be able to understand how to contain germs and contaminants. We should also be able to understand that there is a chemistry side to every cleaning job. The chemistry side of every cleaning job. And so when we have this at the back of our mind, we will be able to know how to manage risk during cleaning. We should also be able to identify soils. We should understand what soil is in cleaning and some cleaning chemicals in order for us to be able to manage risk. Some cleaning chemicals we use in soil management, in cleaning of soil, the kind of chemicals we use. Okay? We are still on risk management because it is very, very essential that we understand what to do in order to avoid a real lot of risk while at work. Welcome again. Please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, do well by subscribing and come back for more of our valuable videos. Now, what is color coding? Understanding what color coding really is. It is a very simple way of cleaning using colors for designated areas so that you are able to identify the hazards involved in each of these areas, and then you manage them with a sort of colors of your equipment, colors of tools, colors of whatever you use in these areas, so that there would be no cross-contamination. It's a very simple method, but yet very effective way in managing risk in the cleaning industry. So, for instance, when you want to clean certain areas, you identify the hazardous areas in the site. The cleaning manager or whoever is leading the team should be able to identify the hazardous areas and how to manage them. So what do we mean by hazardous area? Of course, hazard. We know what hazard is all about. We know that we should be able to manage risk within the hazardous areas especially, and take note of what to do and what not to do while cleaning such areas. So we have colors. Take note that there isn't really any regulation. No court of law is going to arrest you. Nobody is going to arrest you if you choose not to use these colors, if you choose not to do color coding. But it is very essential, and like I said, very, very important and effective in containing cross-contamination in the cleaning industry. So, for instance, like I've just explained now, is not statutorily put that, oh, you must use this color in this area, you must not use this color in this area, or anything like that. But the truth of the matter is, it breaks it down into manageable portions, kind of, and you are able to know that, okay, I've used this color for this place, I'm not supposed to use this for this place, so that you do not cross-contaminate the people, especially your clients, even yourself and your workers. For instance, if you use the same mop that you use in the toilets, we know fully well that people can drop part of what they have gone to the bathroom to do on the floor. So if you use the same mop in the kitchen, for instance, or in the food area, then it is inevitable that people might just be contaminated in that kind of scenario, because you are using the mop that you have used to clean urine, and then you are putting it in the kitchen, and somehow food drops on the floor and somebody picks it up and still eats it, or little children and stuff like that. So this is why it is essential for us to separate whatever we use in areas and make sure that we keep them to those areas alone. However, for you to be able to identify and keep to using this same equipment and tools in the same areas, color coding now comes into the picture. Color coding comes into the picture, and it is very, very useful. So, the acceptable colors and the areas they are used for in the cleaning industry is as follows. You use blue, any shade of blue that you choose to use for general areas, like maybe the elevator area, the staircases. These are general areas in facilities that you can use blue color for. Any shade of blue will do. And then green. You use green mostly for the kitchen, catering areas, food lounges, any area where you are going to deal with food, you use green. Yellow is commonly used in the clinical areas, especially for those of us that will be doing healthcare facilities. You use yellow, or in facilities where you have clinics and areas where you take care of the sick, you use yellow. Red, obviously, danger, is used for washrooms. And then white is also used for further categories of high-risk areas. You know, like for instance, if you clean the health facilities, you can use white for the theaters. You know, this is high risk where you are going to use scrubs and all of that. It's better for you to be able to separate from the other areas, like the food vending areas, the bathrooms, and even the ordinary, maybe the vaccination rooms that you are going to use your yellow coded colors for, yellow coded equipment and tools for. These colors, like I said, there isn't any, they are standards in the cleaning area, in the cleaning industry. This cannot be said for food facilities like in the catering industry, but I'm talking for cleaning industries right now. And like I said, there isn't any hard and fast rule about this. It's just a good practice that everybody should embrace, so that we are not exposing ourselves and our clients to unnecessary risk. Now, when you have thoroughly and totally, considered the importance of the efficiency, the effective infection control by using your color-coded tools and equipment, you are now ready to examine the implementation of an effective color coding system. When you have already when you've already made up your mind and you've considered the efficiency, you've considered the importance of using color coded equipment and tools, then you are ready for implementation of an effective color coding system. The first thing you need to consider while doing this is that the COSH, that is Center for Control of Substance Hazardous to Health, is generally considered to be the body that oversees how people do things rightly in the cleaning industry or hygiene industry. Okay, it is generally considered as good practice to adopt such a scheme when cleaning, especially commercial premises. Okay, now since we have already looked at the importance of doing this, so that there is no cross-contamination, it definitely helps in effective infection control. The cleaning industry has developed a widely used color coding system for all relevant cleaning equipment. We should use this in the areas identified, like I earlier mentioned: blue for the general area, your yellow for clinical areas, your red for bathrooms, and green for the food vending areas like kitchens when you are cleaning homes. And like if you are in the airport, if you are cleaning the airport, for instance, you have the food vending areas, the food lobby and all of that. You should use green in such areas. And then you use white in riskier areas like your theater, operating theater, when you are doing health facilities, hospitals and healthcare institutions. All of these places have already accepted the color coding system, and we should by all means use them. It is very, very important, and I need to sound this clearly, that it is essential that we make use of this. Don't forget, red is used for your bathroom and toilets, green for the kitchen areas, blue for general cleaning areas, and then yellow for infectious areas, and white for operating theaters in hospitals and healthcare facilities. Although you may want to adopt other colors, but the most important thing here is that you should hold on to the same equipment. Like if you choose to use red in your kitchen, if you choose to use red for kitchen areas or food vending areas, then make sure that you stick to red. And make sure you allow your operatives, your staff and other members of the cleaning group team to understand what you are doing. But the acceptable colors are as stated. I repeat again: red for bathrooms and toilets, green for food vending areas, kitchen and food lobbies, or anywhere you are going to have food dispensed, you use green. Then blue is for common areas, general areas like your lobby, your staircase, your stairwells, the elevator and stuff like that. Then yellow for infectious areas like your vaccination centers, and then white for operating theaters. Okay, ideally all equipment and tools within the different areas should be suitably color coded. And this doesn't leave anything out of the scheme. So things like your cleaning cloths, your if you are cleaning the kitchenette or kitchen area, food vending, your food cloth, your napkins, disposable cloth, disposable napkins, cleansing sponges, abrasive cleaning sponge, your pails, your brooms, your hand brushes, your dust pans, your lobby brushes, all the tools and equipment that you need to use in your cleaning. Like the broom, for instance, you might be thinking, especially if you are using the local brooms, that how do you color code the brooms? You can do this by what you use and tying them up. So for the brooms that you will be using, or the brushes that you will be using in the bathroom and toilets, they should be tied with red. So you know that this definitely belongs to the bathrooms and the toilets. All these items can be incorporated in any regimen that you are using as identified safe working procedure guide. So as they are identified in the safe working procedure guide, you must have your safe working procedure guide with you, where you put, like I said earlier on, if you choose not to use the colors that are generally acceptable in the industry, then make sure that the colors that you want to use in your own establishment is in your safe working procedure guide, so that those that are working in your business will know exactly what to do. Now, remember at the beginning of the video, I said at the end of this video, you must be able to identify the hazardous areas. If you are in any business at all, whatever business you are in at all, you must be able to identify the hazards therein. And there are always occupational hazards in whatever we are trying to do. It's not only in the cleaning industry. So now let's hold it to the cleaning industry right now. Even the site you are working in can prove to be hazardous, depending on the areas. There are some very like violent areas in any town, in anywhere, all over the world. So when you want to go to clean any site, the head of the group, maybe the manager or the owner of the business, should be able to identify exactly where the site belongs to. Is it part of the red zones? Is it part of the places that you need to take extra care when you are cleaning? So you identify this, okay? And you will be able to know how to manage risk. For instance, if you are cleaning a very red zone, then the managers will need to curtail the movement of the workers in such a way that you know when to come in, when to go out, where to go, and where not to go. Your survival depends on it. And so you should take it that way. You know, your workplace health and safety as well. You need to also identify the risk you face by your workers, yourself and your workers in the cleaning business. So what are we saying? For instance, the bathrooms and toilets can be one of such hazardous areas. Your bathrooms in anywhere that you are working. Sometimes infectious diseases are inhabited in whatever people pass out. For instance, cholera can actually be taken off like that. Cholera can be cross-transferred like that, you know. So you need to let them know when you are putting up your safe working procedure guide. You need to impress it on your workers, you know, what to do in such places and what not to do. And let me shock you. In some establishments, even at the airports, you see people, you know, it's a general place, it's a public place, so to say. Anybody can come to the airport. And you don't really know, it's not written on anybody's face or head that this person is carrying this kind of disease or not. But you see people entering bathrooms even in the airports. At least I'm talking from experience. And you see people do their poo, they excrete in urinals. Urinals are not built to be able to take excreta and to be able to flush such things down the urinal. So this means that the cleaning operatives in such facilities would have to scoop this out. And you never know what is involved in this. So you need to let them know how to do what they need to do to get this done. What they need to use to decontaminate, to make sure that they don't get infected doing their, because it's also like your hazard at work. That's occupational hazard. That's one of the occupational hazards that you can face. So you need to put all of this in your safe working procedure guide. As an employer of labor, you should be able to identify hazardous areas and make this known to your workers. You have the obligation, either as the manager or as the owner of the business, to ensure that the health and safety of your staff is properly taken care of. Okay? Even your customers as well. You are not going to operate alone, so you need to teach this to your staff. If the workplace is owned by other people, you also need to let them know the hazards involved in this kind of facility. When you have the safe and working procedure guide, it will help you to identify hazards associated with your industry. You will be able to assess the risk to health and safety, and if necessary, to be able to eliminate them or reduce them to at least an acceptable level. Okay, so we've said two things right now. You need to know the color codes as specified and as already approved by COSH and acceptable in the industry. And then you need to have your guide, and you must be able to identify all hazardous areas and state all of this in your guide so that everyone would be aware of what to do and when to do what they need to do. Remember, hazard is a potential source of harm. When we are talking about hazard, it is a potential source of harm. Ordinarily, something can be hazardous, but not harmful. Because if you treat the hazardous thing in the way it should be treated, then it won't be harmful. Let me kick on this a little bit more. For instance, you have Harpic and you have bleach. Ordinarily, these are both hazardous substances. But when they are used the way they are supposed to be used, they are not harmful. But now, if you decide to add your Harpic to your bleach, then it becomes very harmful. It can cause cancer. Whatever the mixture of the two, when you inhale the fumes that come from this, it can be cancerous. So this is what I mean by something can be hazardous but not harmful, because hazard can be defined actually as a potential source of harm. It harbors the harm, but in itself, it is not really harmful. So you don't just expose yourself to any risk like that. Make sure that you are keeping yourself, you are managing risk as they should be managed at every point in time. Risk, we all know, is an exposure to the chance of an injury or loss. So, risk, when you expose yourself or when you are exposed to risk, you are being exposed to chances of an injury or a total loss. Either a loss of the parts of the body or a total loss of life. I know some of us will say, God forbid. Yeah, God forbid. But you also need to forbid by making sure that you are using whatever you are using in the right way. For instance, there is no way the manufacturer of real chemicals will finish manufacturing and they will not put how you are supposed to use these chemicals on the labelings. But some of us jumpstarts, we do not read the labels at all. Some will think that, oh, what are they talking about? So it's like you wanting to teach the, in fact, God. It's like you wanting to teach God how he has manufactured your body. Because the owner of the chemical, the person who has manufactured this chemical, knows what he puts in there. And this is why he will say, put 2 pints of this into 4 pints of water and do it this way. Don't mix it this way. If you decide to mix it the other way around, it's going to be injurious. And this can lead to total loss of eyes, loss of limbs, or even loss of life. So we need to be very, very careful. For instance, also, let's look at caustic soda again. When caustic soda is properly used for the purpose in which it is intended, if you know how to use it, you will have no chance. There won't be chance for injury, of any injury. The risk will be very, very low. On the other hand, if it is splashed about in an untrained manner or in a very careless manner or by a careless person, the risk of an injury is very, very high. Okay? Even polisher, industrial polisher, if it is well maintained, if it is well used by a trained operative, the risk of, like if you are using a polisher, for instance, that's an equipment. I'm just telling you how to go about this and minimize your exposure to injury or risk. Like caustic soda that I've just said now, if you splash it into your eyes, that's blindness. Okay? If you carelessly use such a thing, it can be injurious. Now, let me look at one of equipment right now, the polisher, for instance. If you're using an industrial polisher, if it is well maintained and it is used by a trained operator, the risk of an electric shock is very low. You won't be shocked by anything because you know where to touch, you know how to use it, and you are trained to use it. But if you give it to a novice, or if this polisher is actually poorly maintained, then the risk of it being injurious is very, very high. Excuse me. So, the level of risk actually depends on the way and the situation that is involved in us managing all of these. And as an employee or even an employer of labor, you must be able to identify things that can be hazardous or that can be injurious to you while working, so that you have a very low level of risk and a very low level of being exposed to occupational hazards. Okay? We have to just, we need to be careful when handling all of these things, because they are useful for us, but if we do not take them, if we do not use them appropriately, it can be counterproductive. Remember, we also said that by the end of this video, we should also know how to contain germs so that we don't get contaminated and we do not have cross contamination. The most important time to impress a customer is when they walk in through your front door. I keep saying it because that's the truth. If your office is very clean, that is the back office, the inner office is very clean, and your front office is not, then there is the probability of cross-infection, cross-contamination. So this also applies to when you are cleaning, when you are taking care of people's facilities. That is, when you are contracted to clean for people, you must be sure that you pay attention to the front office. Because in this front office, there could be visible and invisible threats to people's lives. And what this means is that apart from endangering your own life, that is you, the cleaning operatives, you are also endangering the lives of those who will patronize your clients, because they will be attended to in the front office. These are issues that can also impact negatively on your businesses. So you have to pay attention to how you take care of the front office, because most of the time cross-contamination happens mostly in front offices because of poor maintenance of such places. Okay, so we need to pay attention to this and make sure that we do not expose ourselves and our clients to unnecessary risk and hazards. The front office should be taken proper care of, just as you also take care of other parts of the facility. The front office typically in most places are eyesores, and I don't really know how that happens. I don't know why that happens, but this is why I'm talking about it now. Some of the things you see in people's front offices actually pose a significant threat to health and safety. Sometimes people also wire their front offices in such a way that it poses threat of electrical shock to both the cleaners, their clients, even the staff members of such facilities. Okay, so you must take care of the front office specifically, and make sure also that in whatever you do, you keep your hands very clean. And the best way of preventing cross-infection in the home of hospitals is actually by making sure that you clean your hands as often as possible, especially if you are in the front office, because this is where you meet a lot of people. This is where people come in. You have a lot of handshakes. You have a lot of exchanges. People give money. People take money. People take biros, you know. You must make sure that you are cleaning your hands as often as possible, you keep your hands very clean in the best way you can so that you do not spread infections, either in homes, in offices, or especially in the hospitals, actually. And also, another place I would like us to look at critically are the toilets. We must realize that the toilets are full of germs, okay? And if these germs move from these bathrooms and toilets to the kitchen, is a problem. And one way of their movements is not that they travel by themselves, it's by us carrying them, especially with our hands. So we carry the germs with our hands by not washing our hands after using the toilet, or by cleaning the toilets and not washing properly, not scrubbing, and then we move to the kitchen counters and all of that. Or we must be sure, especially when we are cleaning the toilets as well, that we scrub properly. You wash your hands, preferably with warm water and soap, preferably liquid soap as well. And I'll tell you why. You know, liquid soap is preferable. This actually works better on germs most of the time than the solid soap. And then you dry them properly. Drying in itself is a way of killing germs, because most germs cannot stay under high temperature. So sometimes, if I enter a bathroom, personally talking now, and I realize that when I turn the tap, I'm still going to use my hands and all of that, I probably will use the hand towel, the tissue paper, to turn the tap head, wash my hands, and then use the towels the tissue paper or towels, hand towels, clean my hands, and still put under the dryer. Because whatever it is that I have contacted with the towels or with the tap head or whatever will definitely be killed by the hot air being vented by the hand dryer. You can also use alcohol hand rubs. These are very useful. These are very useful when you are cleaning your toilets or anywhere that you realize can harbor germs, so that there is no cross-contamination when you go cleaning other areas. Okay, don't forget, cleaning of hands is very, very essential when you are trying to manage risk in the cleaning industry. Make sure that your hands are well kept and they are well dry, because hands spread infection a lot. Clothes, mops, sponge, they also spread infection a lot. They spread the germs around a lot, majorly because they are damp. Like your towels, your mops, your cleaning clothes, they spread infection a lot because they are damp, so they are ideal breeding grounds for germs. So we need to take cognizance of this. You need to keep these items very clean after use and dry. Make sure they are clean and they are dry. The best way to make sure that you don't spread germs by cloth, mops, towels, and sponges is to use disposable ones, actually. You can use disposable ones, especially in the kitchen. If you or someone else has infectious diseases like diarrhea, vomiting, you should use disposable cloth, when you are cleaning. You should use disposable cloths, you should use disposable towels, hand towels, and sponges. If you can, it's the best practice, it's the best thing to do. Or you stay off work. so that there's no cross-contamination. You stay off work. But the truth of the matter is, even if you don't have all these diseases, you never know, you never can tell what the people, especially if you are cleaning a public place, a public facility, when you are cleaning hotels, when you are cleaning the airports, even banks, you never can tell what the users, what the commuters have carried to these places. So make sure that you clean them. It is very essential that you clean your tools after use, and you make sure that they are dry. And ideally also, items used to clean a particular area should be securely stacked within that area. Within that area. Don't carry them around. Don't carry the tools you have used in the bathroom to go and keep them in the kitchen. Don't carry them to go and keep in the lobby or in the... In practice, make sure that you put them, the equipment, the tools, stored in the same place that they are going to be used. In the same place that they are going to be used, that they are going to be reused, so that you can ensure that these items do not contaminate one another. Okay? For you to be sure that the items that you have used in a certain area do not contaminate one another, make sure that you clean them, you dry them, and you also stack them in that area where they are going to be reused. Don't carry them from here to there and then you start contaminating everywhere, you know. Also, another thing of note is when you are using gloves. When you use your gloves in a certain area, make sure that you change your gloves before going to somewhere else. Don't use the same gloves you are using in the kitchen, in the bathroom, or carry the ones you are using in the bathroom to the kitchen. Okay? Your gloves can contaminate the equipment. You know, they are worn in your hands, and you're going to use the same gloved hands to carry the equipment or the tools that you are using. So make sure that the gloves you are using in certain areas stay in that area alone. Care must be taken when cleaning equipment and operatives. When you are cleaning, the operatives must make sure that the equipment are not touched by gloves from another area. Okay? All reusable cleaning equipments like your clothes, buckets, and your pails, your brushes, your dust pans should also be cleaned and stored separately. You know, these are reusable. Make sure that they are cleaned, they are dried after each use, actually, after each use. Remember, you are using color coding, and all of these things are easily identified because they are easily identifiable because you know the colors you are using for all the areas right now. You know, if you want to clean a place, make sure that, I keep reiterating this because it's very important, make sure that you are using the equipment and the tools that are supposed to be used for the particular area. Do not try to get smart and oh, I'm in a hurry, I need to quickly do this, and then because it can be counterproductive. Remember, we are talking about managing risk in the cleaning industry. I'm just trying to go around all the things you use and how you can take care of them so that risk can be minimized at least they can be minimized if they cannot be totally eradicated. Now to your scrubbing brushes. The same process used for cleaning clothes should be adopted. You know, your mops, your brushes should be thoroughly cleaned. Everything should actually be thoroughly cleaned. Your ringer buckets, everything should be thoroughly cleaned and rinsed clean. A solution of warm water and bacteria cleaner. You know, you've already scrubbed wherever you want to scrub. You probably have decontaminated all these places, and then all the residual, the contaminants that you use, you put in the bucket. When you empty this bucket, the buckets themselves also should be thoroughly decontaminated. You should use bacteria cleaner. You know, water, hot water mostly. You can prepare this, thoroughly clean all of these things, rinse them out well. At the end of each day's work, you can air dry them. You can just keep them there to dry against the next time you are going to use them. But make sure that you are doing this every blessed day, because occupational hazards can be curtailed if we do the right thing. Remember this always. Yes, we have occupational hazards, but the truth of the matter is, can they be curtailed? Yes. Can they even be totally eradicated? Sure. It depends on what we do and what we fail to do. Now, let's quickly go to the chemistry side of all cleaning jobs. Maybe because I have a chemistry background. I have a degree in chemistry, really. So I find this very, very interesting. That, okay, I'm leaving food industry. I'm leaving the food and drug, where we do statutory regulations, and I'm coming to my own business and I'm still meeting chemistry. It's very, very interesting to me, because it is also very essential, and for you to curtail hazards, you need to know this side of the cleaning job. In the cleaning industry, we have acid detergents, we have neutral detergents, and we have alkaline detergents. All of these you can determine by knowing the pH of all of these detergents. So when it is acidic, most of the time they are used for the toilets. Excuse me. And the pH will be between 0 to 5. 0 to 4, 0 to 5. Then these are acidic chemicals. They are acidic detergents. And of course, when you hear acid, then you should know that you have to be careful when you are using these kind of chemicals. Then when it is neutral cleaners, they have the pH of like 6, 7, and 8 thereabouts. And when alkaline, like toilet soap, you know, the soap we use to bath, they have pH of between 9 and 14. You know, the pH scale actually indicates if the product is acidic, neutral, or alkaline. That's the only way you know. And this scale of pH ranges from 1 to 14. Between 1 and 6, you can classify whatever detergent, whatever chemical you are using as acidic. pH of 7 most of the time, sometimes 8, but naturally 7 is neutral. And from 8 to 14 is alkaline. And chemicals actually provides a vital role in the efficient collection and removal of dirt, because these are the things we are going to use. So, because you are using this, and you have to use them because these are the things you need to disperse, to collect efficiently and remove dirt, you need to use them. But the only thing is that you have to be very careful. It is very, very important the way you handle chemicals. You must handle them in a very, very safe way. Right. This video, I'm sorry, is going to be quite a long one because I want us to put paid to this very, very important topic of risk management in the cleaning industry. And so I just want to put everything together for us to be able to use. Now, it is very, very essential. It's imperative. It is, you can't even do without this. You have to handle your chemicals in a very, very safe way, so that you can prevent injury both to yourself and to others. Okay, so make sure that you are following the manufacturer's specifications on how to use them. And I will also be touching on how you mix chemicals actually with water. How you mix chemicals. You don't just mix chemicals anyhow. And I will say this as a final thing at the end of this video. So look out for that. Now, how do you identify soils and the cleaning chemicals in order to remove them? When we say soils in the cleaning world, it just means dirt. It's not sand. Soil means when something is soiled. When we're saying something is soil, we're saying something is dirty. Okay? So soil must be identified before cleaning so that you can select the detergent or the chemical that will be best suitable to remove the type of soil without damaging the surface on which you are removing this soil. Just as you have acidic, basic or alkaline and neutral chemicals, you also have acidic soil, that is acidic dirt, and alkaline soil. For instance, what is acidic soil? Acidic soil, like finger marks. For instance, finger marks, body fat in showers and baths, you know, all those dirt that you see within your bath tub when you are bathing, maybe when you sweated a lot, the body fat, the oil that comes off your body when you bath is acidic. Okay? Then when you are cleaning factories and kitchens, the oily surfaces are also acidic dirt. They also harbor acidic dirt. Most sticky attached dirt in our modern world is oily and therefore acidic. So you can safely say that anything oily, oily dirt, oily soil is classified as acidic, as being acidic. Okay? And now let's quickly look at alkaline soil as well, that is alkaline dirt. Scale built up, like in your kettles, in your pots. Scale built up, lime scale built up in toilets and urinals, cement residues. Alkaline soil is found less often than acidic. You know, they are found less often than acidic when you are cleaning. Now, an acidic detergent will break up it will react chemically with the alkaline soil. Can you see? You see the drift right now? You use acidic detergent, that is acidic chemical, to break up alkaline soil. So it will make it very easy to remove. In chemistry, action and reaction are equal and opposite. Okay? Action and reactions are equal and they are opposite. This is what you can jolly well say that acidic is the opposite of alkaline. And yet, you need acidic detergents, acidic chemicals, to break alkaline soil or alkaline dirt so that you'll be able to clean it or remove that alkaline dirt easily. So when you have alkaline soiling, what you are looking for is acidic detergent or acidic cleaning chemical. Just as acidic detergent or acidic chemical breaks down alkaline soil easily, also an alkaline detergent will break up, because it will react chemically with the acidic soil, and it will now make it very easy for us to remove such an acidic soil. Right. Now, remember, we are still talking about how we can minimize risk while working, how to curtail hazards, how to manage occupational hazards, occupational risk in the cleaning industry. Right. And I said earlier on that we must use the correct chemical when we are cleaning. So you've already been told what chemicals to use for what soil right now. So you must make sure that you are using the correct, like for instance, if you carry acidic detergent and you are going to use it on acidic soil, it won't work. You're actually going to damage a lot of things, including your health, because both may react violently. You know, so you must make sure that you are using the correct chemical for your cleaning to prevent damages to the surfaces being cleaned and to prevent damages to yourself, the cleaner, and also to make sure that you have to, you know, in order to ensure that the soil is removed, you have to use the correct thing. For instance, if you have a headache and you are supposed to use painkiller and you decide to go and use something else, the headache won't go. That's the fact. So it's the same thing. Don't just think, oh, it's cleaning. Maybe it's just cleaning. This is why I pity some of these orgas in corporate offices. When we professional cleaners give them, I digress, but it's a good one. Now, when you give them because you can also let them know when you are doing your marketing that you are the choice. They should choose you for these reasons. Okay? Now, when you are giving them your proposals for cleaning, they're like, oh, the price is too high. I can bring my house cleaners. I can bring my house help to come and do the office anyway. My wife can come and clean for me. And this. You need to let them know that you are the one that know the correct chemical to use to disperse the kind of dirt that they will see, because their wives or their housekeepers that are not professionals, they don't even know, not that they may not know, they don't know how to identify the soils. And it's only when you identify the soils to be either alkaline or acidic that you know the kind of detergent or chemical to use on them. So to ensure the soil is properly removed, you need to use the right chemicals. Okay? Now, the chemicals also has to be diluted. It's not all chemicals that you can just carry like that and use as they are. For a very simple reason, if you buy chemicals only in their final dilution form, it will be too expensive. So because of the high cost and in the transportation, you know, kind of, it will even be too heavy sometimes. Something that you can buy in the powder form and then you can do the dilution yourself, and you are carrying it in the final dilution form, it will be too hectic, stressful to carry from the purchasing site to your offices or to even the site you want to clean. So sometimes it's very imperative that you just buy your chemicals in the undiluted form, and then you learn how to dilute them by yourself. If you are buying, for instance, 100 mils of something that is already diluted, it's going to be more expensive, because this person is also looking at the value that he or she has added to it. So if you are buying it in your supermarket or something, it's going to be more expensive than you buying and you don't even know what they've mixed there anyway. So to be on the safe side, it's better for you to buy in the concentrated form, and then you learn as we will be teaching you how to dilute these concentrated chemicals for you to be able to use and to dilute by yourself. Some chemicals can damage surfaces in their concentrated form, so be sure that you are diluting the way that it should be diluted, so that it can be very safe for both the surfaces and the handlers. So they are safer when diluted, but you need to know how to dilute them. Okay? Now, some chemicals are used undiluted anyway. It depends on what the manufacturer is saying. If the manufacturer says use this chemical undiluted, if that is the recommendation, then the chemical has to be used without dilution. For instance, certain solvents that we use to remove floor sealers. If you are not into cleaning already, you may not know what floor sealers are, but just take it that certain solvents are already sold in their dilution state, so you don't need to redilute. If you redilute, it won't remove, the sealants won't be removed. So, because the strength will have been diluted. Okay? So, when the manufacturer recommends that you should use the chemical undiluted, then you should follow through and use them like that. So it's not all chemicals that you dilute, but most of the time it is so. You buy them in the concentrated form, and then you learn how to dilute them. You follow manufacturer's instructions, and then you dilute them for proper usage. Please be sure that you comply with safety rules and regulations. I'm going to your protective clothing right now. These are in the safety rules and regulations in the industry. When you are going to work, you must be properly protected. Your protective clothing protects you from injury. Therefore, protective clothing should be worn when working, especially with, I can't even say especially with chemicals, because all the time you work with chemicals. The water you are using to mop your floor is a chemical. Okay? The soap you are putting in it is a chemical, because it's compounded. So, you need to adhere and comply with safety rules and regulations. Typically, of protective clothing, Apart from wearing your uniforms, which should cover better parts of your body when you are at work, especially when you are working with chemicals, and most especially when you are working with acidic chemicals. Then you need gloves. You need your goggles. Okay? Your goggles to protect your eyes. You need mask. Make sure your uniform is not speaking to aesthetics alone, because I know some of us want to wear, t-shirts, fanciful, and all of that. Well, fine. But when it comes to dealing with chemicals, especially acidic chemicals, like I said, you need to be in your dungarees. You need to protect yourself totally. You need to be properly covered. Don't wear skimpy skirts or whatever to work. Make sure you are in your pants, in your pair of trousers at work. Okay? When you are looking at the type of protective clothing to be worn while dealing with chemicals, most of the time, what you are supposed to wear using certain chemicals are actually specified on the labelings of such chemicals. So please follow through. The information on any label, like if you are buying any chemical, the information on the label must include the name of the product. It must include the name of the product. Don't buy chemicals, nameless chemicals. You won't have any clue. In fact, not only during the usage, even if something now happens when you use, at least you know the name of the chemical. When you are talking to your doctor, you know the name of the chemical you have used, and this helps them to quickly go into the kind of antidote you will be given. So make sure that the information on the label of whatever chemical you are buying to use include the name of the product and how the products must be diluted if they are in their concentrated form. How the products must be diluted. Where and how the products can be used. You'll be told that some products cannot be used on certain tiles or screeded floors or whatever. Or don't use near fire, don't use near this, don't use where there's no ventilation. Make sure that you have on such where and how the products can be used. And also safety precautions. Some you need to use with your goggles on. Some you need to use with your nose mask on. Some you need to use with your face mask on, that is totally covering your face. And also make sure that you have the first aid measures. That is, if this inadvertently gets into your eyes, this is what to do. Open your eyes wide in cold water. Open your eyes wide, put block on your eye. First aid measures must always be on the information on any chemical that you are buying. Please take notes of these precautions. Now, maybe some people are asking actually, why must we even use correctly labeled containers? You know? Why must we use correctly labeled chemicals? Why must their containers be correctly labeled? You know that all the precautionary measures that we've been talking about can be easily seen, you know, when they are properly labeled. Now, let me now go to something very, very important. When we dilute these chemicals also, from experience when we dilute these chemicals. Sometimes the measures, like the containers we decant in, we do not label them. This is so wrong. Okay, when you dilute and you want to put part of these diluted chemicals in another container, make sure that this container is properly labeled. Make sure that it's properly labeled. Make sure that the name of whatever chemical you have put there is properly placed on the container. So everyone and anyone will know what chemical is in the container and will not use the wrong chemical. And you see, when we are talking of hazards, how to curtail hazards and all of that, how to guide against risk everywhere, and it's everywhere, like I keep saying. It's not only, okay, now let me just give you this aside, but very germane. My housekeeper carried white detergent. You know, detergents can also have other colors, and you'll be able to identify them with their colors. But this particular detergent we are using is white. And normally in my kitchen, when I keep detergents, I have the part of the cupboard where only detergents are kept. Detergents, maybe sanitizer, soap. So that is where they are kept. They are never kept near food items. This boy carried detergent and put white detergent and put very next to the bottle of salt. Salt is white, detergent is white. So it's very possible for somebody to get into the kitchen. Maybe the person even just wants to, especially those who don't supply the kitchen with us, you know, like those in the house that do not go into the kitchen like that. Maybe this person just wants to gargle with salt, and then mistakenly will go and carry the soap and gargle with soap, you know. So it's everywhere. If they are not properly labeled, if they are not properly placed, they can cause harm. They can be injurious. He didn't know what he did. He didn't know the implications of what he did until, you know, like when I first started telling him, you ought not to put it there, you should have returned it to where you took it from. He was looking at me. I'm sure what was going on in his mind was, this is kitchen now. And it's still kitchen. I put it in the kitchen. You always say don't use the same thing in the bathroom that you are using in the kitchen. And I've not taken it to the bathroom. I've not taken it to the gym. I've not taken it to anywhere else. It's still in the kitchen because he was just looking at me. But when I now specify that, okay, even you, yourself, you can come in here, you just want to take salt, you want to gargle with it, and then you now gargle with it. That was when he opened his eyes wide and was shocked. I was like, oh, like, that is true. So in the same vein, when we're in the workplaces, we should be very, very careful. We should have where we keep our acidic chemicals and where we keep our alkaline chemicals and where we keep our neutral chemicals. And we should also have them labeled properly for safety reasons, for people to know exactly what they are working with. Some chemicals, for instance, look like fruit juices. Oh, that's the truth. They look like fruit juices, but they are very, very far away from being a juice. So we need to be very careful because such chemicals could be easily taken by maybe an hungry operator that just sees something. If you, for instance, if you put such chemicals in a fridge, I mean, that's the killer. Because somebody can just get there, and some people can do it in the name of, oh, I want to make sure that it's preserved, is this, is that. Then they'll go and put harmful chemicals in the fridge, in the offices or wherever. Please don't do this. make sure that you have safe places that you are putting your chemicals, and make sure that they are designated places for acidic, for alkaline, and for neutral. Now, I won't forget, I told you that there are ways of mixing your chemicals which you must adhere to. Now, when you want to dilute chemicals, you will use water, obviously. So in chemistry, in the cleaning chemistry now, you only add chemical to water. You do not add water to chemical. So, for instance, if I want to dilute maybe hydrochloric acid, if I want to dilute hydrochloric acid, the best practice, the safest way to do it is to put your water in the container. You've already measured the amount of acid you want to dilute, and you know the amount of water, maybe by the specification on the label, by the manufacturer's specification. You know already the number of mils of the chemical, of the acid, and you know the number of mils of water that you have been told to do. So what you do is you put the water in the container, and then you slowly add your chemical to the water. Remember, water is neutral. So it's going to just absorb your acid. It will be diluting it. It will be dispersing it as you put this acid slowly in the water. But the reverse is the case. If you put water in your acid, or any chemical at all. So get used to putting chemical inside water. Don't put water inside acid, because if you put water in the acid is concentrated, remember? So when you put water, it's just going to react, and the reaction can be very, very injurious. So put it in your mind, always add chemicals to water. Even get used to it that when you are diluting your common washing soap, your common washing detergent, put the detergent inside water, not the other way around. Because the so-called common chemicals that we use, the so-called common detergents or whatever, you don't even know what is inside. And until the reaction takes place, you may never know. So make sure that you are on the safe side. Be good to yourself. Be very good to others that you are working with. Make sure that you are doing the right thing every blessed time. Okay? It's a long one, but for a good reason. I just want all this managing of risk in the cleaning industry to be in one single video, so that you can go about with it, because you never can tell. Your life may as well depend on it. My name is Kofola Oshibikon. Once again, don't forget to like this video and also to subscribe to my channel, where I will keep bringing valuable videos like these that can impact positively on your businesses and on your lives generally. Also, don't forget to click on the notification button so that you will be the first to know when I come your way some other time. Until then, bye-bye. Continue to be good, and see you at the top. Bye.